Hey everybody, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Leah. I had a good week working on my UFO. Before I get into my progress though, I want to talk a little bit about one block wonders and how this one became a UFO. Last week I had someone who was a little confused and they were like, what are all these triangles for? So I want to kind of show you a little bit about one block wonders and how this one made it to my UFO pile. One block wonder quilts are made using a technique of stacking 6 identical repeats on top of each other, cutting strips and then cutting triangles out of those strips. The triangles are equilateral triangles, so when you sew them together, they make a kaleidoscope hexagon. The quilts are called one block wonders because even though the quilt is only made up with one type of block, each block is wonderfully different because of how the fabric is cut. I saw my first ever one block wonder when I was playing around with project quilting several years ago. One of the entries was a one block wonder quilt, and when I saw it, I was in awe. I Googled right away how to make one for myself. I love the one from project quilting so much that I bought the original fabric and made one just like it for myself. Since then, I have finished 13 one block wonder quilts and have bought even more fabric to make more. I bought the panels for this particular one block wonder in April of 2022, and then I cut it out in November of 2022. In 2023, I sewed on it a little bit. I got some of my half hexagons made, but as you saw, not all of them. I had half my piles ready to sew. In 2024, this project didn't get any love at all. It just kind of sat around waiting for its turn. So this year, with my new goal of sewing 15 minutes every day on a UFO, I am planning to have this one finished up by the end of winter. So let's go over how I did this week. On Wednesday, I wanted to get the last pile of hexagons sewn. So I split up my sewing time. I did 22 minutes in the morning, 8 minutes on my lunch break, and then 6 minutes after I came home from work, and I got all my piles sewn together. On Thursday, I spent 16 minutes trimming off all the dog ears on that pile. Who knew it took 16 minutes to cut all those off, but there was a big pile, and I sat down and just got it done. Friday, I ironed the last 2 piles, and it took me 27 minutes. I like to press these seams open, which takes a little bit longer to iron this way, but there's 6 seams all coming together, and when you press them open, it helps them lay flat when you're ready to go quilt it. Saturday and Sunday, I started adding the hexagons to the wall. I had to stick to 15 minutes those days because I had another project that I had to finish off and get in the mail by Monday. I was working on an Island Batik quilt for their new catalog coming out, and that had a serious deadline and it had to get finished. So I had to stick to my 15 minutes. The main goal at this time was to get all the hexagons on the design wall, just so I could see what colors and patterns I'm working with. I wasn't too worried about actually designing it and getting a specific layout. I just wanted to get them all on the wall. On Monday, I had a little bit more time, and I spent 20 minutes, and I got most of all the hexagons on the design wall. Tuesday, I spent another 20 minutes. I got every single hexagon on the wall, and then I had to fix 3 that I sewed wrong. You can see that I sewed half the hexagon with the triangles turned one way, and the other half the triangles were turned another way. I caught those before I put them on the design board, but there was one I caught right before I had to sew on that final triangle. I could tell that that particular half hexagon wasn't lining up right because I didn't have 2 points in the center that were identical. So it's kind of like a mirror image you fold on top of each other to create that kaleidoscope effect. So this turned out to be a good week. I got to sew every day on my project, and when you add up the time, it came to 2 hours and 38 minutes of time spent on this project. I'm liking how things are progressing. Next week the plan is to finalize the layout and start sewing the hexagons into rows. I'll be happy if I get at least half the rows sewn, because I know this part will take a while, especially since I have lots of little small triangles. You can cut your triangles bigger if you like, but I really like working with little pieces, so I make it a little bit harder for myself. We'll see how far I actually get next week. Thanks for watching and following along, and if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button below and click on notifications so you never miss a UFO update. See you next week, and happy sewing!